Man, what is it about us talking about American hockey players speaking out about their time playing in Canada? Earlier, it was Matthew Tkachuk, we also talked about Cole Caulfield, and today we are talking once more about the guy that kind of paved the way for Cole Caulfield in Montreal to be as good as he's been. Let's talk today about Alex DeBrincat, and some extra comments he had made over the weekend regarding his time in Ottawa. Now, last time we had discussed the idea of Cat being sort of frustrated and not all too pleased at his position in the Sens lineup. If you remember last season, DeBrincat had 27 goals, a pretty steep decline from the 40-goal marker he had put up twice with the Chicago Blackhawks. Now you could say, oh, he got a lot of goals because he was playing with Patrick Kane, and unfortunately, there is no Patrick Kane in Ottawa. And you had also the idea that said that DeBrincat was playing on the second line, that in which was apparently something that frustrated him, how he was behind Brady Tkachuk on the depth chart and had no real possibility of moving up. That was all we talked about in the last video, but in today's commentary, I wanted to go over to this article from Helene St. James on the Detroit Free Press from Saturday, September 23rd, so a few days ago. The article says this, that DeBrincat can be a 40-goal scorer after he, quote, got lazy last year. Article is going to be linked in the description if you want to go ahead and read this piece yourself. We're just going to be using this article for the quotes though, because when it comes to how DeBrincat performed last year, it's been no secret that I've been very disappointed watching DeBrincat play, especially since I had him on my fantasy team, but DeBrincat did decline in point production from last season. 66 points in 82 games played is not terrible, but when you consider he was a multi-time 70-point guy, and his goal production was cut pretty hard as well, it definitely makes for an interesting conversation. So without further ado, let's go over to some of the comments made by DeBrincat on this Detroit Free Press article. Again, if you want to read more and the context behind everything, it's going to be linked in the description. But starting things off, this is what DeBrincat says in regards to the idea of him recapturing his 40-goal form next season. That a lot of it is different looks in different situations. I've got to focus a little bit more on bearing down when I get my chances. I think last year I gave up on a lot of chances, maybe got lazy on it or whatever it may be. I hit a post, stuff like that. I think a lot of it was going like that. I'm pretty comfortable getting back to that form, and obviously we have a lot of great players here to play with. So I'll just try to find the space out there and they'll get me the puck. And that's a really interesting comment to make, admitting that his Ottawa Senators stint was a little bit lazier than he had been used to. How he might have given up on a few more plays than he had in previous years. And after watching DeBrincat in Ottawa, I feel like if you revisited a lot of these games, especially early on in the year before DeBrincat really got going, and you learned about the comments he had made while watching these previous games, it would probably make a lot more sense. Because I do remember from last year, there was a lot of discourse surrounding Sens fans saying, oh yeah, DeBrincat just has not gotten off to that goal-scoring pace that he had been in the past. He just has not been finding the net. He doesn't shoot as often as he had. He's hitting more posts when he does shoot it. This guy's been snake-bitten and just not really as high volume of a shooter as he had been previously. And now we know it's because he got lazy. And he's even admitting it as such, that, hey, there were so many opportunities that he got where he would hit the post, and as a result, it kind of got him a little down, and he gave up on chances, and I mean, that's not really a good thing to admit, but I'll appreciate the guy's honesty. Even with the idea that we had floating around earlier that DeBrincat was upset playing behind Brady Tkachuk, it just seems like this entire Ottawa stint was something that really didn't fit well in his psyche. How he wasn't really satisfied with his position in the team, and how gameplay-wise he just kind of gave up on a few plays. Even after, in the next comment, he says this, he made a point noting of how he wants to bring a better 200-foot game to Detroit. Last year in Ottawa, I didn't have the best two-way game, but in past years, I've been a pretty good two-way forward, and that's what I have to get back into. That creates so many more chances for me and my line mates. And even that, he's saying straight up, yeah, my two-way game wasn't good last year either. Talk about spilling out all the beans after signing that contract extension, eh? The guy's making $7.875 million a year till the end of 2027. He's 25 years old. Of course, I think the contract is good. Like, if he gets 70, 80 points next year, that's not a surprise, and it's fulfilling of the dollar amounts he is being paid on the Red Wings. But imagine hearing these comments from DeBrincat before the contract extension was signed. Imagine if he had just came out into the media saying, yeah, I mean, I got lazy, and I was giving up on chances, and my two-way game was subpar, and I was disappointed playing where I was in the lineup. Like, again, I'll appreciate the guy's honesty, but man, these are some quotes that I think a lot of Ottawa Senators fans would eat up, saying, hey, good riddance, buddy. Like, are you serious? You come in here as a 40-goal guy to Ottawa. We're all super excited to bring you on board. You're talking all this talk about the one-year contract and how we'll see how things go, if he can negotiate later on. Oh, he wants to come back. Oh, he doesn't want to come back. Whatever. And you come out later in a year and say, yeah, you gave up on a bunch of plays and you were lazy. You admit that you had a bad two-way game? Like, I'm being harsh on the guy, but he's making $7.8 million a year. I think he's going to be fine, and he's playing in his hometown team. I don't think things could get any better for DeBrincat. But as a Red Wings fan, seeing these comments, I don't know about it, man. Like, of course, we want to see good players, talented players, exhibit their talent and be good every single year. We want good players to be good. That's crazy, right? Mind-blowing stuff. But when a player that is this good is able to so openly admit that he was not good and he kind of chose to not be good last year, I don't know about you, maybe it's the inner subconscious Sens fan within me that's reading this and making the decisions, but I feel really weird about seeing those comments. Again, props for the honesty. That's the third time I've done that in this video. But I don't know, do you want to see your new star player go out there and admit that he was not a star player last year on a team that he very easily did not want to be on because of the situation? I mean, the quotes in isolation, in a vacuum, they're not bad. Like, yeah, he's got to improve his two-way game. He wants to get better. He wants to get back to 40-goal form. These are all great things to hear, but it's just combined with all the other stuff, it forms a picture of a guy in Alex DeBrincat who had such a bad time in Ottawa that it's difficult to really look past that. Again, I don't know, maybe I'm just a Ottawa Senators fan subconsciously, but even as a Red Wings fan who cheers for the hometown team that this guy is now playing for, wherein he'll probably be as motivated as he had been before, like, it just kind of feels weird. I don't know. There are some comments in this article from Derek Lalonde as well. This is what he had said about the situation of DeBrincat and Larkin playing together. We're not even married to the idea of Alex and Dylan yet, even though we've had a couple of days with them. I think there will be a lot of looks. He also talked about the lines being a work in progress and how, given how Dylan Larkin transports the puck and uses his speed to open up room for his line mates, it's hard to think Larkin and DeBrincat will not start the season together, and Perron certainly has made himself a case to be a part of that group. DeBrincat said this, that I've never played with a lot of these guys. I've played with Dylan a little bit at the World Championships. Chemistry is super important to get out of the way early and learn how they play, learn where they like to be, and then you can play off each other, which makes the game a lot easier. And when it comes to being a Detroit Red Wing, DeBrincat says this, over the summer, sometimes it would hit me, and sometimes it wasn't fully there. Once I started going to the rink every day the past couple of weeks, it really hit me. It's been a fun time so far. It's really exciting for me. Growing up for me, the Red Wings were always making the playoffs every year, and they were so fun to root for. I'm hoping to get back to that state of winning and really contributing here. So at the end of the day, we know that DeBrincat's heart is in Detroit. We know there's goodwill here. It's just kind of interesting and maybe a tad weird to hear about how lackadaisical his time in Ottawa was. How he admitted himself, yeah, he kind of gave up on plays and he was a bit lazy and his two-way game was not up to snuff and he didn't want to be in the position he was at because he wanted to be a first-line guy and Brady Tkachuk wouldn't give him the opportunity to do that. Not because Tkachuk himself said no, but because circumstantially, Tkachuk was just the fit on that first line. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you're a fan of the Sens, how does this make you feel? Learning that the guy that you were so wishy-washy with, how he was so wishy-washy with you, learning about how he himself says, yeah, I was kind of lazy with the Sens last year. How does that make you feel about the trade situation, about the contract re-signing saga, and how does that make you feel about the culture that you guys have in your team outside of this guy? If you're a Red Wings fan, how do you respond to these comments? Do you take the positive and say, yeah, he wants to improve and be better? Or do you say, hey, what the hell is this? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.